faculty, and guests. We've come together for a very special reason, to learn about and honor our veterans. It is my sincerest hope that today's activities and interactions with these veterans is a powerful learning experience in which our U.S. history students gain an understanding of sacrifice, service, and why it's so much more than a day off from school.
Fighting soldiers from the sky, fearless men who jump and die, men who mean just what they say, the brave men of the Green Beret. Silver wings upon their chest, these are men, America's best. 100 men will test today, but only 3 when the Green Beret.
I happen to be in the 23rd Infantry Division, which served with the Marine Corps in the Northern I Corps. So I was in the provincial capital of Hue, Da Nang, and that area during the Tet Offensive. It wasn't a very good time, but I look out and see you guys, and I can remember sitting in the classroom just like this when Vietnam started. Well, I did what I felt was right. I joined the service. I spent my time, and I'm proud of it, and I'm glad to see that there's enough young people now that volunteered for the military.
Well, I was your age in high school when I joined the Navy. I was 17 years old. My summer between junior and senior year, I ended up going to boot camp. Came back home and everybody said, "Why is your hair so short?" Well, they scalp you when you go to boot camp. But I kept it quiet. I didn't tell anybody where I went. So as soon as I graduated, I was sent to California. Sat out there for a couple of weeks until I got my orders.
My name is Doug Nunes. I was in the U.S. Army. I graduated from high school in 1963, 57 years ago. So it's been a while. I have a little different story with my service in Vietnam. I went to basic training after 2 years of junior college. I was 20 years old. I had bodyguards from the police department 24/7. After 10 months, I went on an operation to recover some rifles that were supposedly being used by the Viet Cong in a village. We encountered a booby trap, and our scouts there was a line across the trail of string going to a large device that was on a stick off to the side of the trail. And I was with 90 police and Vietnam troops, and we were helping each other over that wire. We had to step over the wire and then step away. And as we were helping people across the wire, we had a group of us that accumulated, and as we lifted my radio operator over the wire, he caught his foot on the wire and it detonated the device. There were 2 American advisors on this trip, and I was one. I had a staff sergeant as the
I'm originally from New Mexico, Santa Fe. I went into the service in Santa Fe. Went to basic training, Fort Bliss, Texas. Then from Fort Bliss, Texas, I went to advanced infantry training at Fort Polk, Louisiana, in North Carolina, home of the airborne. I was with the 2nd 325th Airborne Regiment. After that, I got assigned to Panama, and I spent about a year and a half in Panama, attached to the 7th Special Forces. I have 2 brothers that were in Vietnam, Henry and Rudy, and I'm Vietnam era, didn't get to go there. I did come down and levy for Vietnam, But they took me off simply because when I signed, it's a 1049 contract that you sign when you go airborne, and it states on there that you have to be a year with that unit before going overseas. So they took me off the Vietnam levy, and they also said, well, your younger brother just got there. So they took me off of it. I spent about three years and 7 days in the military. I was drafted, like this gentleman said, Green Berets.
I'm Rick. I'm from Post 22. We're the Honor Guard. We're going to post colors today. That's what our uniform is for. I am the captain of the Honor Guard for American Legion. All right, these guys took off in an airplane, and they're flying an old airplane. All of a sudden, the airplane started going down, and the pilot come running back. He said, you know what? This is my airplane, and it's going to crash, and we don't have enough parachutes. But it's my airplane. So he put on a parachute. He jumps out. So that left a preacher, another guy, and a hippie. Now, so they said, well, you know, there's not enough. But so the preacher said, you know, don't worry about it. So this one guy said, I'm the smartest man in the world. You know, I have got to have a parachute. And they said, well, okay, if you're the smartest man in the world, go ahead. He put on a parachute. He jumped out. So that left the preacher and the hippie, and the father said, don't worry, guys. I'm not afraid to meet my maker. I've been speaking of God's language all my life. He said, you take the parachute, young man. And the hippie said, no, don't worry about it. There's 2 left. He goes, how could there be 2 left? He said, you know the smartest man in the world? He just took my backpack. Your grandfather will love that, Jim.
Yeah, I joined the Army because it was more or less a family tradition. I had an uncle in World War II, had an uncle in the Korean War.
Actually protecting the President of the United States. You know, we would travel, we would eat, and at certain times we were heavily armed. When I came back home, when they were listening to my story saying, oh, what was your day like? I had breakfast with the President, had dinner with the President. Very few selected Marines can actually say that. You know, it was an honor though, to do that.
Trained to live off nature's land, trained in combat hand to hand, men who fight by night and day, courage take from the Green Beret, silver wings upon their chest. These are men, America's best. 100 men will test today, but only 3 when the Green Beret put silver wings on my son's chest. Make him one of America's best. He'll be a man they'll test one day, have him win